Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of this newsletter is going to be When Men Lose Their Way. Well, I've got 3 different emails from 3 different viewers that I'm going to go through with you today. But before we get into it, I got a quote that I wrote regarding these 3 different emails and some things that these guys need to focus on. And it says, a man without a purpose and mission to pursue in life is like a ship without a rudder. In order to get to your destination, you have to have an emotionally compelling vision to pursue in life. If you are not pursuing something you love, whatever it is that you are doing, you are not going to be very good at it. Without a passion and a purpose, a man cannot feel fully alive and like a man is supposed to feel. This will negatively affect his friendships, intimate relationships, his ability to earn money, his health, and his ability to enjoy and find fulfillment in his life. Well, let's get into the first guy's email. This one's actually really short. The guy says, hey coach, I have a lot of unresolved shit as a human being and was wondering how to get rid of it so that I don't bring it into relationships. Well, I don't know what all that shit happens to be, but I know this, as a man, what you need to be focusing on is doing something for a living that is emotionally compelling to you. And on a scale of 1 to 10, it's a 9 or a 10 in your eyes. And if you don't know what that is, or you're unsure of what that happens to be, it'd probably be a pretty good idea to book a paid phone coaching session with me so I can help you figure out what your purpose and your mission is in life. Because as a man, you need to do something that makes you feel alive. It's the kind of thing that gets you up early in the morning. It's the kind of thing that makes you feel like this is what you were put on this earth to do. Because if you can do something for a living that you really love, because let's face it, most of your time and energy is going to be spent working at your job or your business or your career. And if you're going to be spending most of your time doing something, you better be doing something that you really love and you really enjoy that brings great satisfaction to you. Because if you hate your job and that's where you're going to spend most of your time, do you think you're going to be motivated at the end of the night to go to the gym and work out or to take the time to prepare a healthy meal? You'll probably just go and get some fast food because you just don't give a shit. Because you don't love yourself enough to get a job that you really love. Therefore, why should you give a shit about taking good care of your body? Then if you don't take good care of your body, obviously you're not going to look good. You're not going to feel good. It's going to affect the way your skin looks. It's going to affect the way how you appear as being attractive or unattractive to members of the opposite sex. It's all about doing things and filling up the majority of your time in your life with friends, people, family, circumstances that are satisfying, that are compelling to you, that are exciting, that make you happy, that bring a smile to your face. Because if you're walking around and most of the time you're going, this really fucking sucks, it's going to make it really hard. You go out on the weekends, you want to have a good time, you want to meet somebody. Hey, what do you do for a living? Oh, fucking, I hate my life. I hate my fucking job. It totally sucks. My boss is an asshole. I hate my business. I hate my business partners. There's a lot of people in the world that are like that. Think about that. If you're talking to a woman and she's telling you how much she hates her life and how much it sucks, you can see that in their face without them even telling that. It's going to affect their body language, their physiology, the tone of their voice, the kind of things they talk about. But if you really love what you're doing and somebody asks you what you do for a living and you say, oh, I love what I do. I love helping people. I love what I do. It makes me feel so alive inside. There's nothing greater and more fulfilling than anything I've ever done in my life than to help somebody figure out what their purpose is or their mission in life, or help them save their marriage, or help them save their relationship, or lose 80 pounds and get into great shape, or to figure out a business plan so they can start building that dream business that they've always wanted to build, even if it's going to take them 5 to 10 years working on the side while they work for somebody else. At least if you're working for somebody else, you're not really crazy about that job, but you're earning a decent living and you're building your business on the side, you've got that thing that you're passionate about, that you're excited about. And so when you meet a woman and you're like, oh, I work such and such a job, but it just pays bills, but what I really love and what I'm really passionate about is renovating old cars or renovating old homes or whatever it happens to be. So when you talk about your passion, it's like your eyes light up. You talk with your eyes. You talk with a lot of smile. smiles, a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of excitement. And at the end of the day, the word enthusiasm comes from the Latin. I think what it means is in spirit, or in spirit too, I think, which basically in essence means you're in spirit, you're inspired, the divine energy is flowing through you. So let's get on to the second guy's email. He says, "Hey coach, I spent so long making all kinds of mistakes, and my commitment here is to get my wife and family back." Well, the thing you got to remember about that when you're trying to reattract a woman or your girlfriend or your wife who's left you is it takes two to make the relationship work. The other person has to be willing to make the effort, and if they're not willing to make the effort, it's pretty much a moot point. He says, "Long story short, I'm 32 and my wife and I were together for about 10 years. We had a business together, and back in 2008, our son was born. 4 months later, my mom died, and I had a very strained relationship with my mother. Then we moved back home to Washington to be closer to family. We sold the business to get out from under the stress." You know, what's interesting is my dad, when we were, I think it was back when I was a freshman in high school, if I remember right. Their business was growing. It was really successful. My mother was like, if we don't get out from under this business, I'm going to go nuts. It's like, because she was just tired of the stress from it. And what my father should have done was just hired somebody to do her job so she didn't have to deal with the stress of the wash, dry, full business, because they had a bunch of accounts. They had 2 or 3 employees working for them. They were doing a lot of hotel accounts where they were doing the linens for all the towels and all the sheets and laundry from 2 or 3 different really big hotels, and it took them all day to do the stuff, and they had to deliver the stuff back. It was like 5-6 days a week they had to do this. But instead, my dad was being a pleaser, trying to make her happy. He goes, and he was excited about the business. He didn't mind the stress because he used to work in retail. But he went along with what my dad or my mother wanted because he was a pleaser. And that, within a couple of years, it put a real bad financial strain on the household because my mother took the money and invested it in the stock market. They made a lot of money when they sold the business, but she took all that money and put it in the market, and she pretty much got wiped out when the market crashed back in, I think it was 89, I think is when the crash happened. So my dad had to go back to work, and I remember, by the time I was 21, I was making more tending bar than my dad was making when he was working back in retail. Keep in mind, my dad was 20-something years older than me. So he says, after they moved back home, they sold the business, and then obviously they had no income once they sold the business. He says, "I went into a deep depression of ineffectiveness, finances waned, and then I met some partiers, started drinking too much, and everything went to hell." So obviously what happened was you didn't feel like a man anymore because now you no longer had a purpose and a mission and a compelling vision for your life because you gave it up to get rid of the stress. And masculine energy is about purpose, drive, mission, succeeding, accomplishing. So in a way, you're kind of like a ship without a rudder. And as a man, you're not able to provide for your family. You're not making any money. And all you had was a savings from when you sold the business, which obviously is dwindling down to next to nothing. And so the way you dealt with it was to escape through alcohol and partying, which obviously is a bad way to go. You no longer were the leader of your household. So he says, everything went to hell, and then my wife moved out with our son in March of 2012. We had been friends for 3 years before we got together, and when I had finally given up on dating, the magic came rushing in and our love story began. I know what the feeling of being totally connected to someone feels like, and since I woke up out of my stupidity in January of this year, and since then I have cleaned up my act altogether, and I got my business back on track, poised for growth, and I'm happier than I've ever been. Awesome. See what a night and day difference it is when you get focused on what really matters to you. Obviously you have this traumatic event, everything in your life kind of falls apart, and now you're building something new. You're building a brand new business. He says, I have set and committed to one singular goal, and that is to reattract my wife so that our family can be together and we can experience this amazing love that God has for us. Well, you're projecting your ideal image onto your wife, but you ignoring the fact that she moved out, she left the relationship because she got tired of waiting for you to be the leader. And your single goal should not be to re-attract your wife back. The thing that should be driving you most is building your business into a great success. And if you're able to re-attract your wife back, then that's just like the icing on the cake. That's the gravy to the mashed potatoes, so to speak. He says, there are a couple of obstacles. She is dating a guy who lives 3 doors down from her. Yeah, that would kind of qualify as a problem. It sounds like she's moved on with her personal life at this point. He was actually in a similar situation. His wife started looking outside the marriage for self-fulfillment, and he has 2 kids, same age, etc. Everything there points to a rebound relationship. Well, at the end of the day, she's with him and she's no longer with you. You gotta be honest about that with yourself. He says, my wife's aunt had a similar issue with her ex-husband and is now remarried, so there's that fuel. So she also had a member of her family that went through a similar thing, found a new guy, and ended up getting remarried. He says, my wife has held on to the idea that I am a monster for all the things I have done to her. Well, obviously she's pretty hurt when you stopped being the man that she fell in love with and started acting like a teenager, partying like a rock star again, and not taking care of your bills and everything else. He says, but she really did blow things way out of proportion. Well, at the end of the day, no woman is going to stay with a man who goes out and gets drunk all the time and neglects her and her family. I mean, think about that. You can't expect her to sit around and tolerate that bullshit and just sit around waiting for you to grow up and act like a man. He says, as if that matters, her perspective is real to her. And at the end of the day, that's all that really matters. Her attraction level for you, where it is, that's the only thing that she really cares about. She doesn't care about how much you want her back or how much you realize you fucked up. It doesn't matter. The point being is she's dating a new guy at this point. He says, there have been times when I would show up on a Friday to pick up our son and she's really happy and chatty. And just a few months ago, she even seemed to follow me as if she couldn't get enough. But then when I dropped our son back off on Sunday, she decided that she now was not going to let me inside her apartment because it was more appropriate this way. Well, this tells me that she's pushing you away and trying to keep you at a distance. Again, that is indicative of where her real attraction level for you is, which obviously she left you, so it's not very high at this point. And I'd say the odds are not good of getting her back, especially since she's got a new boyfriend. He says, I know I made a mistake there, and I broke down trying to rationalize with her and started begging. Wow, he says, I know, I fixed that since. Yeah, that begging and pleading, it never works. Because that's just acting out more weakness, insecurity, more doubt. He says, I kept trying to do no contact, but she keeps contacting me and wanting answers on stupid issues. Like she was calling me about the old debt, and even though I told her I wanted to pay them, I haven't reached the point where I can afford to do so yet, but she keeps wanting an answer. Then last week, she sent over the divorce forms for me to sign. And by signing, I would agree that the marriage is irretrievably broken, and I simply don't agree with that. Well, that's fine. That's your choice. She kept bugging me throughout the week and that I'm refusing to sign them and I'm being stupid, blah, blah, blah. She says I'm focusing on the past. Well, it definitely sounds like she's moving on. She wants you to sign the divorce papers. He said I was very calm and patient, and I told her that she could do whatever she wanted, and I simply won't sign something that I don't agree with. Okay, well, that's your purpose. That's the way you feel. Then you need to stand up for that. I mean, because at the end of the day, even if you refuse to sign them, then she can still go ahead and divorce you. But at the end of the day, that's her decision. In other words, she's the one that's unilaterally making the decision to end your marriage and no longer work on it. He says, I even said, obviously a piece of paper isn't keeping you from having a relationship outside of our marriage, so why do you need my approval? I have seriously been employing as much as I can muster from what you've been teaching. Side note, I'm going on some dates and I'm practicing your techniques and it's working pretty well. Well, that's because I teach what works, dude. He says, okay, my question is this. Number one, how do I interpret her badgering me about these things? Well, it sounds like she just wants to move on with her life, and you're not really admitting that. He says, my understanding is that she is showing me areas of perceived failure and actually giving me opportunities to fix the problem, like when I make more money, she won't have that to bother her with. Your take? Well, like I said, it sounds like she really just wants to get out of the marriage, but you have stated that you don't want to end the marriage, you want to continue working on it, and if you're going to get a divorce, it's going to be because it's something that she wants, not something that you want. But at the end of the day, she's with another guy. In the meantime, how do I deflect her? I have said, if you ever want to talk, feel free to give me a call, and acted like I'm shrugging it off. She has a boyfriend, so I'm afraid to say, if you ever want to get a drink, maybe I should. Well, just tell her. Just say, I love you and I want to keep our family together, but I'm not participating in this divorce. If you want to divorce me, then you're going to divorce me, and that is all going to be on you. So down the road, you're going to be the one that has to tell our child, well, I was the one that left the marriage. I was the one that gave up. I was the one that quit on your father. And that's fair enough. He says, maybe I should say I'm not interested in talking. I just want to have a good time. I seriously want to focus on my business, and it seems like she's trying to make me pay for whatever it is that's still bothering her. If I could disappear for a while, she would have the opportunity to see this rebound relationship through, but then I see my son every other week, and I'm not letting go of that. How do I handle this in the meantime? Well, obviously, when you see her and next time you talk to her, just say, look, I want to work this out. I understand you're dating a new guy. Explore that. Have fun. But if you ever want to work it out, let me know. I'm not signing these divorce papers. I don't want anything to do with that. If you still want to divorce me, that's your legal choice and your legal right to do so. But that's all going to be 100% on you. I'm not down with that. I'm not down with giving up on our family. If you want to leave our family, then that is your choice. But let me know if you change your mind, because I'd love you. I'd love to see you. And if she reaches out to you in the middle of the week about something other than talking about this stuff, invite her over for dinner. Hang out and have fun and hook up together. That's the only thing you can really do. But like I said, the odds don't look real good. It sounds like she's pretty much left the relationship at this point and has moved on, and you're just kind of carrying the torch, and you don't want to admit that it's pretty much over. So let's get on the next email. This guy says, hey Corey, I wanted to thank you and give you an update. I studied your material and applied your methods faithfully. It was often counterintuitive and difficult for me to comply with. So this next guy's email that I'm reading, he's actually a guy that's been able to re-attract his girl. So he says, I found that listening to your relevant YouTube videos and audiobook chapters over and over again was very helpful. It not only helped me cope with my urge to reach out to her when it was ill-advised to do so, but your teachings eventually started to make more and more sense to me. It eventually became second nature to me. That's why I say you got to read my book 10 to 15 times to the point where you don't have to think about it anymore. And for those of you that have downloaded the Kindle edition, in the Kindle app, it'll actually read it to you in like a woman's computer voice. So, because some guys have asked me about an audio version. Well, if you download the Kindle version, it will read it to you. It won't be in my voice, but it'll be a computer voice. Sound kind of sexy like Siri does on the iPhones. Or maybe Google Maps, if you will. So he says, a couple of weeks before you responded to the email I sent you, and a few weeks after having fun and hooking up, she sent me a long email message where she poured her heart out and asked me to consider taking her back. And see, this is like the guy whose email I was answering before. This is what you do. You tell her what you want. You want to work on the marriage, and the ball's in her court at that point. She's got another guy she's dating, and at the end of the day, if she's going to come back, it has to be her choice. There's no argument or rationalization that you can throw at her that's going to make her change her mind. She has to come to that conclusion upon her own. He says, she said that she missed me terribly and that breaking up with me was the biggest mistake of her life. Yeah, because she got out in the single world and realized that most of the guys out there are fucking douchebags and they have no clue what they're doing. He says, furthermore, she said that she would wait however long it would take for me to decide and would jump through any hoops in order to convince me that she really loves me and wants to be with me. It's amazing to go from, I don't want anything to do with you, oh, please take me back. See, this is how a woman acts. And you can see when a guy acts this way, it's like that's why it never gets him anywhere. Because a man is going to say, hey, this is what I want, but if you're not willing to make the effort, then give me a call if you change your mind. He says, when she first broke it off with me, I would never have thought that such an outcome was possible ever, let alone just in 1 month. I'm awesome like that, bro. That's why you should pay more attention to what I teach. He says, in the end, the whole experience was ultimately a positive one in which I learned some important lessons. Through your teachings, I've been able to change some destructive patterns of behavior that I was previously unaware of. This woman is a beautiful person inside and out, and she has integrity. We always have a great time together, and we are very compatible. Your advice saved my relationship. Thank you very much for your help. Well, you're welcome, and pat yourself on the back for having the balls to apply things that were completely against what you felt and thought you should do. But at the end of the day, what I teach teaches a guy how to act like a man. It doesn't mean you're always 100% of the time going to get the girl back, but I promise you, you'll either get the girl back that you want, or you'll get someone 100 times better. So if you have something you'd like to get my help with, you want to figure out what your purpose is, you got a relationship that you're trying to save, you're trying to turn a business around that's maybe going sideways on you, or you're trying to jumpstart your career, maybe you're struggling to find the kind of job you really want or the type of career you really want, go to my website, click the products tab at the top of your screen, and book a paid phone coaching session with yours truly. And I will talk to you soon.